Hello, this is Manish Patel from EIA Capital Group. Today is December 28, 2010. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the global markets, where we'll cover every market from the US to Asia to Europe and even South America. Okay, before we begin, normal procedures. This is our disclaimer to state this is for educational purpose only. All charts are either in Thinkorswim, TradeStation, or freestockcharts.com. Here are our contact details. You can follow us on Twitter under Ichimoku Trading too. If you have any questions, you could email us or contact us for any of our other resources like our discussion forums and so forth. Okay, so let's go and let's go look at the global markets first before we start looking at the U.S. markets. Okay, and let's start off by going into Europe. And let's go look at Frankfurt Market because that's been the strongest market out there. And let's go look at the weekly time frame. So if you look at the weekly time frame here, let's zoom in some here. Whoa. Sorry. A little difficulty. Okay, let's zoom in here. And if you look, it got to our target level that we wanted to get to right here, 70687. So it's right at that level. It does have a potential of breaking up above that. It does look really good still to keep on going up. So the next level that we're looking at for this guy to get to is about 72.72. That's the next level for the German market. But you could tell the German market is bullish trending on the weekly time frame. And if you quickly look at the daily time frame, you could see that it's trending there on the daily too. Has yet to penetrate the Kijun. You had a little blip here, but still that's very, very strong going forward. Okay, so let's go back to weekly. That was German market. Let's go look to London. You can see that the London market is just now starting to break the bullish trend. It broke for this double top or kind of triple top, whichever way people want to look at it. But it came back up here, came down here, pulled back, and then broke right through it. Level it's looking at to get to is roughly about here at 60.40. If it gets past that level, then we're looking at 62.98. So, you know, if it continues just like the German market to keep on going strong, then it's definitely going to get to the 62 level, 100 level. But if not, it's just going to pretty much stop here at the 6,050 level. Time will tell, but this is now starting to trend nicely on a weekly time frame, as you can see. And if you quickly look at the daily, daily's trending too. So everything looks good as far as the FTSE is concerned. Remember Paris wasn't looking that great. We're always talking about going long on the German market and shorting the Paris market. If you look at the Paris market, it's just consolidating on the weekly. There's nothing really there. So let's move on from there. Let's go out to Asia. Let's go look at China. China just raised rates yesterday or the day before. If you look at the Chinese market, it's basically the Shanghai. It's in the cloud on the weekly, so this is just consolidating. This thing is getting tighter and tighter as far as the consolidation pattern is concerned. So sooner or later, this thing's going to break, and when it breaks, it's going to break hard. Let's go to a daily time frame and look at it. Showing up slowly, but it's here. The daily time frame is now looking to maybe start a bearish trend very soon. If it breaks at this level here of 27.53, this thing's going to go lower all the way down to probably about here at 26. So time will tell what's going to happen in the Shanghai market, but right now basically it looks very weak. Let's go then. Let's go to the Nikkei market. If you look at the Nikkei market, it's bullish now because it's above the cloud, but all the other indicators are still conflicting with this. So it needs a pullback and then break for the cloud. And then if it breaks for the cloud, it's got to break this level of 10,585 in order for it to keep on going higher. Let me zoom that in here. So the level here, as I'm predicting here, is this level here. It's got to break that level, and then once it gets there, then it can go another 3 points here. If it breaks this level here at 10,801, then it's got a high possibility to start trending to the bullish side for once. And that's the Japanese market, so it will get very, very interesting. Okay. So we covered the Hong Kong. Oh, we haven't covered Hong Kong market. Remember we talked about this in the Indian market. They're very, very similar. They are bullish, but they're between the Tenkan and Kijun. So it's got to break one way or the other in order for it to tell us exactly which way it's going to go. Okay, so right now there's no trend there at all. It's in between. If you look at the daily time frame, it's starting to look bearish, but I wouldn't get fooled by the bearish nature in this at all. This is still bullish sentiment, and it could start turning bullish if it breaks this 24,000 level here. Let's go to the Indian market, the Sensex market. Sensex market is just at the top of the range right now, right at the Tinkinson. It needs to make a commitment on which way it's going to go. Typically, seasonal patterns for the Indian market are January and February it goes down. So if it does go down, then we're looking at it to get to about 18,000 level. Once it gets there, then it could bring some buying opportunities finally for the Indian market, but only time will tell. Okay, and then let's see what else have we left off. We forgot the Australian market. So we're going to go out to here, the Australian market here. And it's pulling up here, and you can see on the weekly time frame, it's now right here at resistance, a minor resistance. It's got to break through that. Then it's about to break through there. Eventually, it's got to break this 5,040 level. If it breaks that, then this thing can start trending to the higher side. So look for 5,040 to eventually break that in order to keep on going long. However, you can't enter this on a short-term basis going long because the weekly is starting to show positive, and you can see on the daily it broke for the resistance level here and then trying to retest to make that resistance support. However, if it breaks the 4,900 level, I'll definitely short-term start looking at bullish opportunities. Remember, I said short-term, not long-term, but short-term. Okay, let's go out to America. Let's go cover Brazil market. If you look at the Brazil market, daily looks weak to bearish side. Okay, let's go look here, and it's basically bouncing between the Tinkinson and the Kijunsen here, just like basically the Hong Kong and the Sensex market. So all three of those markets, the Hong Kong, Sensex, and the Brazilian market, are looking pretty much the same. It's got to make a decision which way it goes. Indian market looks more on the bullish side than both of them because it's at the top of the range instead of the bottom, whereas the Brazilian and the Hong Kong are at the bottom. And then lastly, before we start looking at U.S. markets, let's look at the Canadian market. If you look at the Canadian market, it's very, very strong right now. This is a TSX, and it looks to probably get to about here at 13,589. So it looks like it's definitely going to get there. It's just a matter of when, and then that point is going to be what's going to happen at that point. But this has been very, very strong. If you look at this pattern, this looks very similar to the German market pattern. Okay, so now let's go and look at the U.S. markets. And let's go and start looking off the NASDAQ market first, because that's kind of the key first market. Remember, we've always been, since the beginning of the year, talking about going long the NASDAQ and shorting the S&P. Okay, if you look at the NASDAQ market, let's zoom in. This is bullish trending on the weekly time frame. It kind of halted here at the top here, but it's still bullish trending. Okay, if you go look at the daily, still bullish trending too. But you notice it's just weakening slowly there. Okay, so just take a note of that. Also notice about the NASDAQ market. If you let me get in some more data here. Let's go and look at 20 years of data. You notice we are very close to the very top up here. In fact, we're right around there. So we're pretty much close to the 2256 level of here at the all-time high, the NASDAQ here. Back in 07. So right before the 07 drop, we're pretty much retesting, getting ready to retest the highs up here. Okay, now if you look at that and compare it to the Dow Futures, look at the Dow Futures. Even though they're bullish trending on the weekly, it's still got a while before it could come and retest the highs up there. But let's go zoom in here on the weekly. Almost looks like the same chart now as the NASDAQ. So they're both bullish trending. And then if you look at the ES now has finally caught up. And it looks the same. Okay, but remember, both the ES and Dow have a lot to sit there and go before they could retest this high up here, which is back in 2007. That's interesting because remember the Dow and the NASDAQ is still very strong. So you know, a lot of people are still looking at NASDAQ for 2011 to lead because the financials took a hit. So they're looking at technology pretty much taking us out of this recession. Lastly, we're going to look at the Russell. And we'll zoom out on that. You can see the Russell, same thing, still a while to get there, but still stronger, you know, stronger than the Dow and the S&P. So small caps have been leading a lot, and you could see this is still bullish trending too. So all these markets pretty much have the same weekly chart pattern right now. Between the Dow, the Russell, ES, and so forth. If you want to rate them against strength and so forth, NASDAQ is strong, then it comes the Russell, and then it comes to basically the Dow, and then the ES right after that. Okay, so that's basically it for this week's video for the global markets. Hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, please let us know.